I'm gonna try this again now for the third time. So it keeps cutting out on me. Oh, keep making the damn video and it keeps just bloody dying. Not dying, I just decides, okay, recorded enough for the day. Quite frankly, it's pushing my buttons. So let's do this again. Not with AANA, they're not with me. Alright. This is Addiction of Days, what, 8? Alright. Um, so yeah, it's Sunday, it's the 10th. A bit late today, it's already after 1. Okay. So, let me read this again, eh? Okay, so just for today. Boom. Which one? That go. I know that one. There you go. You can see it. Cool jobs, man. Cool jobs. Oh, you would think concrete wouldn't be slippery, right? Because this is a concrete ass table, really. Like, seriously, the phone just keeps slipping. Can you stand still now? Are you sure? Okay. Just had a conversation with the phone. Right, October the 10th. Before we got clean, most of our actions were guided by impulse. Today, we are not locked into this type of thinking. Basic text, page 90. Ever been tempted to do something even when you knew the results would be disastrous? I'd say every addict, gambler, sex addict, junkie, whatever, they know what the consequences are going to be, you know? And Ricky being saying hello. Hello, Baba. What are you up to? Eh? What you doing? Say hello for the camera. Hey, you. Giving hugs. And so she gives hugs. She pushes her head against you. Hey, sweetie pie. Hey, you white one. Stop making noise. Okay, go play. And there's Achilles the cat, nicknamed Dum Dum. He's got more brawn than brain. He's a silly cat. Really funny. But anyway, let's get back to the task at hand. Okay, ever been tempted to do something even when you knew the results would be disastrous? Yes. As an addict, you can say yes. Alright? Because you know you're going to the casino, you know it's going to be disastrous. You're going to lose everything. You know, as an addict, you're going to go, organize your hit. You know the consequences are going to be disastrous. Same with alcoholics. Same with sex addicts eating Overeaters Anonymous. Remember, I'm not a part of the AA, NA, OA, all those factions, okay? Not a part of them, as they're not a part of me. Right, cool. But I do like the literature that they do have. Some of the literature is very good, as we read out of the Just for Today book. Cool. Ever thought about how much it was going to hurt to do what you were tempted to do, then proceed to do it anyway? Yep. um, you come guys, let's go have a drink. No, I'm trying to stop drinking. Oh, come on, man, it's okay, just come, just have one. Yeah, okay, all right, just one, eh? Then I'm leaving. You're not cool, bro. Come, let's go. And you get there, you have that one. All right, I'm gonna go now. No, bro. Just have one more. Just have one more. You have that one more. And it's another one more. And it's another one. Same with the drugs. It's just one more. It's just one more. It's just one more. Next thing you know, you're crawling at the pub. Next thing you know, you're waking up on it's a bridge when you've passed out from the amount of drugs you've taken. Or a week later you're still awake and you're wondering, where the hell am I? And by the way, yes, it was a zit. I did pop it. Not something you want to say on the camera, is it? Hey, Dr. Pimple Poppers. I love watching that. But anyway, carry on. It is said that there are consequences to every action. Somebody once said, remember, you're free to make any decision you want in your life. We all are. But we're not free from the consequences of those actions. Remember that. Think about it. That's the thought for the day, by the way. Okay? Thought for the day. You are free to make any decision in your life. We all are free to make any decisions in our lives, but we're not free from the consequences of those decisions. Got it? Think about it. Moving on. Okay. Before we got clean, many of us simply didn't believe this. That didn't apply to us, the consequences and that. But now we know exactly what it means. When we act, we know there will be consequences to pay. We know that because we got clean. We can think clearly. No longer can we decide to do something in ignorance when we know full well that we won't get the price we'll have to pay. There's a prize and a price. It's okay to act despite the consequences if we're willing to pay the price. But there's always one to pay. Just for today, I will think about the consequences of my actions before I take them. Hey, enough! Stop shouting. There we go. Bark again. People with the inconsiderate. I said stop shouting. Enough. Hey, shh. Next to neighbor's dog. And then, of course, I've got my dog, Fui, wanting cuddles. Come on, go play. I'm busy. Okay, so that was just for today, and you've had the thought for the day. And this dog next door looks exactly like my old man Jack. There's a little bit more brown spot on the ears. Right. And I'm going a bit about myself. Okay, so, I'm not going to go into too much detail and stuff like that. Just going to go around about, the consequences and stuff like that. So, I started fairly young with my nonsense. I was drinking from an early age, around about 12. Smoking my first joint around about 12. Lost my virginity around about 12. Took my first line of coke around about 13. So yeah, I used to sneak out of the house, wait for my parents to fall asleep, and sneak out of the house, scoot down to Pinetown. It's in Durban. To some of you old Durban guys should remember the club Malachi's. I remember the bouncers at Malachi's. So yeah, I started my crap pretty early. I was always in trouble. I wasn't always up to something. Always up to something. Getting into trouble for this, getting into trouble for that. I'm not going to mention names. My friend and myself, we made a HGH bomb in a what do you call it? Brake fluid in the old days. Listen to me. Back then, it was used to be tin bottles for brake fluid, which we threw down the drain pipe. Yeah, so we ran. Eventually, this thing blew up, but a freaking whole street and neighborhood just felt like it was vibrating. You know who you are, bud. So yeah, I was always doing something dumb, always doing something stupid. But my real shit really started. Um, what should I say? Really getting out of hand. Was when we moved to Joburg. Uh, by then I was, I was already an alcoholic, a binge drinker, alcoholic, if you want to put it that way. Weed. Um, at one point, they even said I was the weed king of Albert. You know, um, yes, see, I smuggled weed in from Zimbabwe, um, sold weed. So then I started getting into more frequently into the harder drugs. Um, so I'm just like rounding this all up. I'm not going into too much dates and times and places and all that nonsense. So yeah, I was involved carjackings and house robberies and muggings, all these things. And you know, the first time I was arrested, um, I went to Soweto, which is called known as Deep Cliff. Was then was there a year and a half waiting trial. Um, Eventually, I got a suspended sentence. It's on my record, suspended sentence and all that nonsense. But there I was extremely lucky because there I was in for fraud, and we defrauded Bank City in Joburg. Then yeah, if they proved the entire amount that we had, actually myself and this other person that my accused, if they could prove that the entire amount, yes, I'd still be sitting there. But they could only prove a small amount of fraud. So yeah, lucky God was on our side again, and got a suspended sentence, slap on the wrist. Second time I was in Westville prison. No, not Westville, Skiesman. Um, now I forget the name of that prison. But anyway, that's there close to the Rudderport side. I was there. Then I was also a year and a half there in the Rudderport area there. I can't remember the name of that prison now. Damn it, man. But I was there also about a year and a half waiting trial. It was theft, housebreaking, GBH, grievous bodily harm, uh, assault with a deadly weapon, baseball bat. Well, they said it was a baseball bat. It was more like just like a ball. And yeah, what's that name? But anyway, so I was there a year and a half. Case eventually got dropped. Um, Free. Out you go, boyki. I was in a lot of jails and police station jails. Then I was in Nelspruit for a bit, but not long. And so yeah, I was in Nelspruit for about maybe a month, 2 months, and then the case got dropped. Very lucky there. Once again, man upstairs was watching out for us. Me. um, so my addiction took me to the streets. I was on the streets for about just over 2 years. Uh, Once again, this is all now, addiction consequences are involved. Because I tended to think I was untouchable. Like I mentioned in the one video, I'm sitting in Joburg in a park in Bruma, clapping my first hit of heroin because I used to sniff it. I didn't used to inject. That's regardless, but anyway. So I'm sitting there in the park, and and you're looking at the people driving to work. And you're like, "These sheep, dude. Everybody's sheep. Hey, they all slaves to the man. Look at me, I'm slave. Shut up, man. So, that's the height of the insanity. Okay, I'm thinking I'm free. But in the meantime, I'm more of a slave than what else is, because my slave was the demon drug. I call it the demon, right? That was my slave. I was a slave to feed that hunger, that drive, that desire for that freaking drug. You know, um, and all the consequences took me to, of my actions was prison. It was a record, a criminal record. It was living on the streets, health. Today, where I'm sitting right in front of you today, okay, I sit with heart problems. I sit with short-term memory problems. um, I have a weight problem now. I'm a diabetic now. Uh, high blood pressure. I have PTSD. Um, you know, I thought I was. Besides the PTSD thing, that's another consequence for you. I did mention it the other day. Stole from a Nigerian drug dealer. I was going to work for him. I was going to be one of his runners. I was going to sell his shit. So he gave me, about 30 grams worth of stock. I had proven myself already. So until he gave me this 30 grams worth of stock to sell. I got back to this rundown scum of a place where I stayed. It was in a flat. It was like really dodgy place. I mean, you know, it was really down and dingy and dodgy. I got as far as sitting inside the flat, and I was staring at all the stuff on my futon bed. Dragon's love futon beds. All the stuff laid out on my futon, and I was staring at this stuff, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna start with just a little bit of this, just a little bit of this. Well, it was about 3-4 days later. Everything was finished. I'd finished everything. I changed my number because Zach was phoning me constantly. I changed my number, and a few months went past. A few months went past. I was back in Hillbrow, and I was by the Coca-Cola football stadium, where they play rugby and soccer. And yes, I was standing at the robot, and next thing I saw stars. And I was hit in the back of the head. I was loaded into the kariki that they had, the car they had. And for about, it felt, I don't know, it could have been more, it could have been less, but it felt like about 4 days. I was murde. Every day I was black someday. So, yeah, I mean, I got a scar on my leg. Shin bone went through there. Ankle bone came out there. Some of the scars was over old scars. As a kid, running around, falling over crap and everything. But anyway, so I could have died. I was beaten to an inch of my life. But there's a lot of other things that added to the consequences of my actions. I made a promise to myself when I came sober that I was never going to go back to jail or prison, whatever you want to call it, because of that smell. And I use that smell to remind me even today, when the addict stinking thinking comes in, it's like, oh, what a bad day. Maybe I should just go back to using drugs. Then I'm like, don't you remember this? Don't you remember that? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. you'll be back there. So we only take the consequences to heart, especially us older addicts that have, been sober for a while. That we take them to heart. But this is what I mean by the message. To try and get to the now addicts is listen to the guys that have been there, done that, got the T-shirt, okay. Um, and I don't want to talk about your fake addicts, okay, because and I'm gonna be nasty now. You got these guys that or girls, you know, I call them fakes because they fake wannabes, they come in and they it's just let me just stop it right there. All right, you know what I mean. Those of you that have been to rehab 1 or 2 times, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's that pretty boy that sits there. It's that you know rich queen girl that sits there. Okay, and I'm not mean because they're rich that they fakes. Okay, it takes all kinds, but there's just a certain breed of addict that I call fakes. Okay, so we're gonna leave it there. And yeah, so remember, like I said, now today I sit with a lot of health problems and that because of my actions. And I got this cat sticking its claws on my toe at the bottom here. Stop that. Because of my decisions, and my actions, the consequences I sit with today are severe. Alright? Same with alcoholics. You guys, seriously, you need to go and check out what your livers look like, bro. It's disgusting. When you see what an alcoholic's liver looks like from an alcoholic that's just passed away. And they remove the liver out of that person and they show you this is what a liver's supposed to look like. This is what an alcoholic's liver looks like. And it's grey. So yeah, guys, just remember addiction is a whole. Okay? Your drug might be different, but the behavior, okay, that you put out is the exact same behavior as that guy that's sitting on the street smuggling and whatever to get his next fixed. Then with you driving your BMW, eh, bulldozing and bullshitting everybody so you can get your next drink or your next casino. Okay? Your behavior is exactly the same as that person sitting there. So don't think you're better than anybody else. Addiction is a killer. No matter whether you're sitting in a fancy house or if you're sitting under a bridge, be careful. It will take your life. If it doesn't take your life, it's going to take a heck of a lot from you that you would wish you were gone. Sober moment. Think about it. Right. Peace be with you all. God bless and adios.